Today, I want to talk a little bit about the anxious-avoidant trap and about the relationship, especially from a lens of someone who used to be anxiously attached, is still with someone who is more avoidant attached. However, he became more secure for sure. Like 4 or 5 years back when we used to live in London in a room together, we always were arguing and fighting. I felt super insecure and anxious and always seeked the closeness and kind of was critical as well, which I didn't even realize. Versus my partner, I was shutting down a lot of times, needed space, and then got very defensive and explosive at me. And now we have this relationship which is not perfect, but we have, still our ups and downs, but so much more closeness, so much more calmness. We are able to talk about conflict, and we can give each other a little bit more space, and then we'll come back stronger together and create so much more closeness and quality time together. So here are just a few things more to understand this dynamic. I think is very helpful if you have an anxious attachment style, because I assume you are anxiously attached like how I used to be. So here we go. Disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or doctor. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, or heal any mental health condition. If you're in an abusive relationship or dealing with severe mental health challenges, always seek professional advice. So first of all, this is the very typical trap that everyone talks about. This might be you. This might be your avoidant partner. So here on the left side, we have the anxious attachment who really seeks closeness from a place of, if I'm not close to you, I'm not safe. I'm not good enough. You're really chasing the closeness because otherwise you are looking for external reassurance, validation for your worth and safety, versus your partner is exactly the opposite. They need space and freedom to feel safe and to, not feel trapped and overwhelmed. So what happens if, let's say, you start to seek more closeness? The thing is, the more you chase, this is the typical, the phrase that everyone uses, you might chase energetically or mentally or physically, then the more your partner will run in the end. It's not funny. The really sad and dramatic thing is the more the avoidant then runs away, the more the anxious will chase. And this is exactly this trap. And it doesn't always start just with the person, the anxious, with you initiating the closeness. It can also be your partner is just stressed through work or through other conflict from his family or other things going on. So they just pull away because of their own emotions, because of something else going on. But then you already take it personally. You still seek closeness. Then the more you seek, the more they withdraw and shut down. This is now the important part. Both of you are dysregulated. Both of your needs are unfulfilled, and you both feel very misunderstood and triggered and hurt by this relationship, by this dynamic. It's not just the anxious attachment, even though lots of people who are anxiously attached, who think, oh, the avoidant don't care, he doesn't love me anymore, I'm the only one trying. Because if you look at this dynamic, it looks like the anxious is just the only one trying, because their activation strategy is to engage with intensity, to let's talk this out, let's fix this, let's plan something at the weekend, let's do something. This looks like the only way how love is and how relationships should be done. However, you don't realize that your intensity level is too high as well. This is not secure either. And I'm not saying this to shame you or to tell you this is wrong. I'm just telling you, as someone who used to be anxiously attached, you're also in this dynamic. So you both can do something here. So now something else I want to show you. Okay, where do I start? So in the middle, there's you, right? You have often this void, like an unmet need that is really unfulfilled. I call this the void here in this overview, and you might not able to even grasp or understand what it actually is. It took me years to really name it. with attachment theory, I was able to give it words and language and understanding and meaning. And it's just really visible when you attach to someone in your romantic relationships, like with your avoidant partner, what it actually looks like or feels like. Because if you are attached to your partner, let's say he's avoidant attached, you then kind of come with this expectations to like, hey, you should make me whole. You should reassure me. You should be with me always together. You should plan the weekend with me. You shouldn't make me feel like, oh, unimportant. And they have all of these expectations. And some are very normal and basic, like, consistent communication. However, anxious often do mix this up out of overcompensation. It's like, oh, I don't just want to spend Saturday a few hours with you. I want to spend all weekend with you, from the morning I wake up to the moment I fall asleep. And if you fall asleep before me, I'm already anxious and spiraling and adding meaning into things. So you're basically saying, fill my void, the void I already had before I actually met you. So basically saying, you make me feel okay, because anxious only feel okay through co-regulation, basically in closeness with someone else. However, the avoidant is not very good at co-regulation. They're already dysregulated. They're numbing their own emotions. They're suppressing them. So that's not the best idea. That's why, this anxious avoidant cycle, that you try to get closeness so you can co-regulate together, you can feel okay, and you don't have to, excuse me, and you don't have to feel your own emotions, because you have never really learned to self-soothe. Whereas the avoidant hasn't learned it either. They're mostly needing space not to self-soothe, but to suppress more their emotions. So you both have not learned the skill to self-soothe. You're trying to co-regulate, while you just try to avoid the emotion. By the way, sorry if you're listening on an audio podcast right now, I'm pointing a lot, so it might be helpful if I either add the video at least on Spotify, or you check quickly out the video on YouTube, which will upload as well in the afternoon. So anyway, so what is this void exactly I'm talking about? This like, oh, make me feel okay, make me feel whole, you complete me. That is often something that is coming exactly from your upbringing. Not always from your parents, but let's say it's 90% of your parents somehow. And in your relationships, that looks like these are three main unmet needs that you're trying to get fulfilled in often unhealthy ways. So you have a need of certainty, which for you really means safety and predictability. That means you really want to know what is going on at any time of the day with your partner, who he's with, what he's doing. You're overthinking. That is one strategy of your subconscious mind, is trying to meet this need, often in unhealthy ways, just because our subconscious mind is always trying to create safety. And it does it in the fastest way to meet our core needs. And one for your anxious attachment style, that is certainty. The second is connection and love. So connection and love is met usually, if you have an anxious attachment style, through closeness, physical closeness and emotional closeness. So you want to, spend all weekend with him, or all day. As soon as he comes back from work, you're already emotionally dumping on him, or you're texting and calling multiple times instead of just once. And then the third unmet need, this void, is significance. It's the overall, the term that I've learned from Tony Robbins. He has this really great 6 unmet core needs framework. And these are the 3, I think, that are very fitting to someone who has an anxious attachment style. And significance can look like verbal affirmation. It can look like, hey, you know what? I matter. I matter to my partner. I'm chosen, and I want to hear this as well, or shown through actions. And all of this comes from inconsistent upbringing, usually from your parents. This is actually where this void was created. Can hear or sound like love can be taken away at any moment. So often, maybe
your parents were there, very warm, very loving, but then other times not, or they were snappy or anxious, or didn't hear you screaming or crying, or something like this, or one parent was very overwhelming emotionally, didn't had the skills to self-soothe either, was also very anxiously attached. Versus you had another parent, maybe a dad, was emotionally unavailable, physically there, but then very emotionally distant. So this mix might have also created this, you know what, my needs don't always come first, or it's unpredictable. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's taken away. Could have been influenced through conflict, through maybe you're hypersensitive already, so everything is amplified. Can be through other factors where maybe you have been in hospital or had many doctor visits when you were very tiny, very young. So this created the separation from your parents, where you thought as well, hey, love can be taken away at any moment. So as you can see, this is very important. If you are with your partner right now, you're having all of these expectations for your partner to make me feel whole. But this doesn't come from your partner now as an adult, not even anymore from your parents. Now it's your turn to realize, hey, I can give these to myself. I am an adult, and even though it feels like I'm abandoned, it feels like I'm not good enough, it feels like I don't matter, it feels like I have to abandon myself to create closeness and to meet these needs, and I have to overthink and worry. I don't have to. I'm already safe. I'm already lovable, even if I am showing up as my true authentic self. And I can give these needs myself first. That's really important, because you can't change your partner. Only when you change yourself, you can attract to a more secure partner, and you can heal this void within yourself. I think I could talk about this cycle, but I think that's it for today. A little short one. Let me know on YouTube or on Spotify or on my email what you want to hear next of. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, change in your relationship starts with you, thought by thought, action by action, episode by episode. Lots of love. Beulah. Bye bye.